Okay, so in this video we're going to be looking at the fourth exercise in booklet 3, and that is this one here. Now this is quite a simple exercise, except there is something in here that you need to watch the video carefully in order to know, and if you watch it you should be able to do this without any problem in only a few minutes. So let's get on and do it. Right, so actually, before I move back, let's have a quick look at our basic drawing here. You have an object which is 400 here at the width at the bottom, and then 900 tall. So that's what I'm going to use as my starting point. So 400 by 900 rectangle, 400, 900. There's my basic shape. Now, in order to get the circle in it, I need to know exactly where the middle is. Now, if you watch the previous video, you'll know how to draw a guideline which is exactly in the middle. If you didn't watch the previous video, then watch now. So I'm going to drag a guideline from this point here, and I'm going to move as I'm moving. So I've still got the mouse button pressed. I move onto this line, and I move along until it turns this kind of bright blue color. And it's telling me that it's 200 millimeters from the end. Now I know that I've made that 400 wide, so I know I'm exactly in the middle. Clicking there then gives me a guideline exactly in the middle of my shape. Now what I also need is the center of this circle to be 300 from the top. So again, a guideline down here, 300 there. Now I have a circle, and the radius of that circle is 200 from this point right here, this intersection. So get my circle tool, get it on the intersection, drag out, and then type in 200. Now you can see here there's a bit of a problem because it touches right on the edge, and that's going to cause an issue if I continue from here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go use Command Z to go back. If I was using a Windows machine, I'd be using Control Z, and then I can undo what I just did. Now the nice thing about SketchUp is you can go back as many steps as you want. So I'm going to, before I make the hole in the shape, I'm going to draw the curved sides. Now if we look here, we have a radius of 600. Now with what you already know about the 2-point arc, you should realize that you can put an arc on here, except what you haven't done yet is define it as a radius. So let's have a look at that. So my 2-point arc, now if we look carefully with the 2-point arc at what it's asking us to define, I've got my first point, I've then got a second point, and then if you look down now in the bottom right hand corner, it's asking for me to define the bulge. So the bulge is how far the middle of my arc sticks out compared to the ends of the arc. And you see as I drag, the bulge is getting bigger. Right, now the bulge and the radius are not the same thing. The only time when the bulge and the radius are the same is that time, like now, when you have a half circle. And because I have a half circle, my radius is 450. What I need is a radius of 600, which should give me something that looks a bit like that. So if I want to tell SketchUp that I want to, instead of a bulge, define my radius, what I need to do is type in the number, in this case 600, and then the letter R. When SketchUp knows that I've typed in the letter R, it knows that I want that to be the radius and not the bulge. So that's what it looks like. Now on the other side, I'm going to do the same thing, except that I'm not going to type in the R afterwards, and then you'll see what a difference it makes. That's not correct. So if you want to make sure you get a radius and not a bulge, what you'll get, or what you need to do, is type your radius, in this case 600, plus the letter R. There you go. Now I have the correct shape. I can delete these lines that divide the shape into separate parts and go back to the task of putting in my hole, which is 200 in diameter, or 200 in radius. So, and because that's now divided that shape up, I can then select that and delete it, which gives me the shape as it should be. And the only thing I need to do now is pull it up to the thickness of 45. 45. And that is what your shape should look like.